Hey, everybody. Thanks for taking the time out to join us on this episode of AMP, which is standing for the Agent Mentor Program. This is a time and a place where we can come together and we interview agents, regardless of where they are and what their performance level are, that are doing cool things. And we're trying to learn from each other. There's an old saying that says iron sharpens iron. And so we're coming together once a fortnight and just exchanging ideas. And today we are joined with Seb Ferrari. Seb, welcome to AMP.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you.
Seb, I want to just dive straight in and tell us a little bit about you. There'll be lots of people here that haven't met you before and whatnot. Tell us how long you've been in real estate, what's your background, and whereabouts are you doing real estate?
In a nutshell, I've been in some type of blue collar work all of my life. I started off in real estate about now 14, 15 years ago. But I really haven't hit my straps in real estate until probably the last 5, 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just been a learning process. It's still a learning process. It never stops.
It's always a learning process.
It's an evolving industry, nearly on a weekly basis, it seems like. Absolutely loving it. But here I am today.
Beautiful, beautiful. And whereabouts are you doing real estate?
I'm on the north side of the Brisbane River in a place called North Lakes, Moreton Bay Shire. And I predominantly, well, even though I do about 80% of my deals in the local area, I've just recently done a deal in Rockhampton, one in far north Queensland. So I don't have areas like people have. There's this big hoo-ha about you got to control your local market, be the king of that. My story is a little bit different. I just like, for a better word, go for the low-hanging fruit no matter where it is and try and do a deal. It's always about doing deals.
Okay. Which is great because what I love about coming together all the time is everybody's got a different philosophy or a different approach and what I loved is that often we have these conversations, and I often give the illustration. Last year we had someone that came on or people that came on and they said the only way to prospect that we've found is through social digital marketing. And then the next guest comes on and says, I don't do any of that. I only pick up the phone and call all the people in my area. And what's funny is they're doing about the same amount of business. So, Seb, tell us a little bit about if there is such a thing, what's your average price point or property style like?
So I predominantly deal in the mums and dads. So my average sale price is around the $500,000 mark or thereabouts.
Yeah.
But I specifically focus on that entry level, I guess, mums and dads sort of property, nothing fancy. I try and go for volume, not deal in the too many $1 million markets. Even though have sold a few $1 million properties, that's not my game. That's not me.
Yeah. And so the type of properties you're selling, are they brick and tile? Are they Queenslanders or what does that look like?
All over the place, from townhouses to asbestos-ridden properties to brick and tile. I don't have a particular style. I just try and take care of clients, what their needs are, and help them navigate from one situation to another, and try and look for solutions for them.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. And talk us a little bit through about when you first got into real estate. How did that journey start?
Horrible. I worked for one of the major real estate companies. It was
when you say horrible, let's not throw them under the bus, but let's say that you worked for a well-known brand.
Yeah, well, I guess in a better way, my expectations and what my thoughts and where my headspace was, what the job entailed, and what I was expected to do was nothing like what I experienced. Having said that, though, it gave me the grounding, the toughness, the understanding to then become a half-decent agent, I hope. But it was more of a telemarketing role. So they promise you the earth. They tell you, you're going to do X, Y, Z. You put on a fancy suit, you go and talk to people. And my experience has been nothing but anything opposed to that. the telemarketing role, I was doing 100 to 150 phone calls a day. And when I mean phone calls, I mean actual connects, actual
Yeah.
talking to people, not just pick up the phone, make a phone call, and go on with it. It was actually talking to people. So that taught me how to be a good telemarketer or a good engager in conversation over the phone. But it was very, very hard work. And that sort of gave me the groundings then to 6 months later start doing open homes, start listing properties, start learning the tricks of the trade. I sort of plan it like, or have a philosophy that people that go into real estate think they're going to make $1 million in the first year. And they think it's about the dollars. It's never about the dollars. It's always about the people. So I learned how to connect and put all those thoughts aside and then reinvent myself and then start learning the rules of engagement, so to speak. I put it like a university degree. You don't just go and do 3 months course and then say, hey, woohoo, I've got a certificate, I'm a real estate agent. It takes a good 2 or 3 years to even understand the industry. So you have to do the groundwork. You have to hang in there. You have to let go of the shackles and reinvent yourself in the way you think. And that took me about 3 years. My first 3 years, I would have done, I don't know, probably 20 to 30 deals in my first 2 or 3 years. I did 30 deals in my first 3 months this year.
Yeah.
So, but that's 15 years on.
Yeah. And sometimes we don't realize those those people that are creating a challenging work environment for us. They're actually kind of testing us in a way. Sometimes they're going, does this person have the chutzpah to keep going or whatnot? So just if you can reflect back on those early days of sitting there making calls, what did you find challenging about that, and maybe what did you learn other than just I learned to connect?
The biggest challenge was I was trying to sell. And where now I will make 20 calls a day, but I just talk to people. What's the problem? What are you after? What are you looking for? How can I help you? I'm here to assist. This, and this. What are the issues? I solve problems for people. I don't sell their homes. The home sells themselves. And that was a big learning for me because, when people I think Tom Panel says that they smell the fear of the money.
Yeah.
They can smell it on you. And that's the same thing. Don't pick up the phone and talk to people about selling their home. They're going to tell you to go and jump in the lake. Talk to them about, how can I help? Can I give you some information? What are the issues? When are you thinking of selling? Oh, you're not selling. Do you know anybody that does? Just reach out to them and assist. And that was my biggest learning from it. But it was very, very hard the first 6 months and getting rejected phone call after phone call until I worked it out. I'm doing this wrong.
And were you just cold calling, straight up cold calling?
Absolutely. 100% cold calling. Just hit a street, hit a suburb, just call them.
I love it. It's so good, and as you say, soul destroying at the same time. When I remember when I was young in real estate, they tried to make us do that when the office that I was at, and I hated it. And then the next guy would come along, often the boss. He'd go, "It's so easy." And he'd make like 4 calls and he'd get a connect and he'd be, okay, well, we'll come out and see you. And I'd be like, what? How does this work?
So true. So
Uh,
true.
yeah, cool. Hey, tell us a little bit now about how do you generate clients that you're working with? You just alluded to the fact that you just had a monster quarter, or whatever. How does that happen for you?
It doesn't happen overnight, even though people just see success as an overnight thing. It doesn't happen. My strategy over the last 6 months has changed dramatically. One, because the market shifted and changed. But two, the needs and wants of people have changed and how we reach out to them. Back in the day, we used to have a little black book and all the details is in the black book and people came to you. Um, and we had an office present. These days, I don't have an office. I go to all my clients. But the strategy these days is one of the things was big on the agenda was sign jumping. A lot of properties wouldn't sell. So what we call sign jumping is after 60 days, you'd call them, you offer them a better solution, you try and get in the door, you take the listing off those other agents because you're supposedly better. These days, most of the properties in my area, or I think in most areas for the last year and a half or two, are selling. So you don't even get that opportunity to get in the door with those people. So it's about building trust. It's about building the rapport. So some of the things that I do these days is a listing never comes in from one angle. Do not put all of your eggs in one basket because you, in my opinion, you will fail. But you have to look outside the box and see what your competitors are not doing and where people are wanting your assistance. To give an example, the last 2 months, I've taken 3 properties off sale by owners. Owners that thought that they could sell the property hasn't sold. I gave them a better solution. 3 weeks later.
What's the initial reach out like? Is it in a letter? Is it a flyer? Is it a phone call? Is it a door knock? How are you connecting with those?
Talk to people. Pick up the phone.
Yep.
Pick up the phone and talk to them. I call people from Facebook. I call people from Gumtree. I call people from sale by owners. There's a lot of, I find a lot of new agents think that all they have to do is print out 10,000 flyers and continually drop them on the street. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's a waste of money. I do some letters, some marketing, but I mix it up. I do a bit of digital. I do the DLs for the branding purpose so people know I'm around. I have my signboards up. It never comes from my area. I connect with other people, other agents. I get a lot of business with other agents. Just think outside the box.
Yeah, referral business.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep.
But I've got 14 years
Yeah.
behind me to be able to do that, whereas a lot of new agents won't have that. So they have to think outside the box.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's not going to work the same for everybody. Everyone's different. So you got to find your niche. You got to find your rhythm. You got to find your flow.
Yeah. What's the average home seller like there? I know you said you work with moms and dads, but are they in industry? Are they blue collar? Are they, like what kind of people are you working with?
Yeah, just average Joe Blows. Mum works at the school. The dad's got a job in IT. Or there's 2 or 3 kids in the family. It's mixed. There's not one that I can pinpoint directly. Everyone's a little bit different. Every house is different. Every solution is different.
Yeah. I love the fact that you're saying that you're really solution oriented, that you're trying to talk to people, listen to their problems, and then look at the solutions that you can offer them. That's really a strong scenario. Seb, take us back to where you saw a change in your real estate career. Like you said, early days, you had maybe done, 10, 20, 30 sales in your first few years, and then you started to get momentum. What do you think changed and shifted for you?
You got to have the fortitude to keep going. Real estate is not a 12-month game. It's not, it's a long game. Yeah. And I've heard a lot of trainers and people, and you have to train yourself. You have to initially, you really got to learn the ropes. And that's by listening to people like yourself, listening to the likes of Tom Panos, going to some of these events, getting connected with these people. Stay on top of the new technology, but don't try and find that magic 1 outer. It's not out there. It's not out there. So for me, it was probably about 3 or 4 years into my real estate career where I worked out, well, if I can't do 20 to 30 sales a year, then I'm better off getting a job in Kmart,
Yep.
stacking boxes, coming home to my wife, not worrying about life, and just getting my paycheck and going home? Or am I going to make this my rest of my career? And what do I have to do differently because what I've been doing hasn't been working? And that's when it clicked. And it clicked. And it's not about houses. It's not about selling. It's about people and providing them a solution from one journey to another journey. If you can understand that, you're far, far miles ahead of any other agent coming into the industry. The rest you can learn.
So if we can just get you to role play that slightly with me, let's say you get an inkling that I need to do something in real estate and you give me a call.
Mhm.
How does that go? What's that call go?
So I might give you a call and I say, hey, Rob, how you doing this morning?
Yeah, good, good.
Awesome, awesome. Listen, I was talking to Patricia down the road, your neighbor. She said that you guys were cleaning up the place and you may be considering in finding out what's happening in real estate. Is that
Uh,
something?
yeah, we are thinking about maybe doing something.
Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing to the house?
Well, we got to paint the outside of it. We got to get the winter weeds all whacked back and make it look a little bit presentable. We're thinking about maybe making a move.
Okay, that's awesome. Have you got a good painter?
Well, I was just going to paint it myself, save a bit of money.
Well, if you are considering putting the property on the house, I've got this awesome painter, really, really cheap. And you know what? He even does cashies.
Yeah.
So if you want to save a bit of money, we can talk about that.
Well,
Would you like me to pop over, have a bit of a look, maybe give you some ideas of how to actually do a couple of things to your home that may give you that extra 10 or 20 grand whenever you're selling, not now, later, whenever you're selling. But can I give you some ideas and pointers?
yeah,
I'm yeah.
that'd be all right.
Yeah, awesome. When can I pop around? I think I've got Thursday and Friday available.
Either one of those
Amazing, amazing. Look, I'll bring the details of the painter over. I'll come and give you some tips and pointers, and we can have a bit of a chat, and maybe you can make me a coffee. How's that sound?
sounds good.
9 o'clock on Thursday, cool for you?
Yep, that's fine.
Let's do it. Looking
Sounds
forward to
good.
catching up with you.
Sounds good. So it's really just asking the questions.
Just help, connect,
Yeah, I love
don't
it.
sell.
I love it. Yeah, what one of my really good friends in real estate early days, he had been a boilermaker welder, and his specialty was being in the pub between 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. every day. And he used to do so much business out of the pub because where do you go when you're feeling blue? You go to the pub. And all the bar people knew that he was in real estate. He had his logo on and whatnot, and there'd be a guy and his wife had left him, or a girl and her husband had whatever it was, and there was always a need there. And then the bar people would say, hey, I see that guy out there playing on his phone. He's a real estate guy. Go have a chat to him.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and yeah, he was always doing deals just because he went to the pub. So that it's you just got to connect with people and see
Absolutely.
how you do that. So I just want to ask you, we've got a few minutes left here. As you see, the real estate world is going a bit crazy at the moment. The whole world is going a bit crazy at the moment, depending on your perspective on life. But what are the steps that you're taking, or maybe that you could advise us as agents to be taking to prepare ourselves for the next chapter?
I think we've got to be patient. Um, I don't try and think about what I can't control. So I'm just controlling what I can control, and that's to continue to talk to people, to prepare yourself, to always try and train myself, keep up to the latest things, but don't let one single thing do your head in. Just let things go. What you can control, control that. What you know works, keep doing it. What doesn't work, think about it for a little bit and change it. But just keep talking to people. But people that say no to you, it's not because they don't want to say no, it's because they're just not ready. So it's not the right place or the right time for them. But if you're shoving the proverbial real estate shit down their throat, you've lost them. So just keep in touch, keep connecting, listen to what the market's doing, advise them, give them some help. And we need to listen to the market, listen to the stats, because this is fear, the interest rates, the interest rates, the interest rates. That's fine, but that's not going to help somebody sell their home if you're going to be the fearmonger. Give them the solution. Don't worry about what's going on in Iraq, in Russia, in the rest of the world. This is our home, our place. Worry about what we can control here and help them with their problems now that affect their family, their livelihoods, and give them a solution to that while being mindful of what's happening around us and change. Be flexible, be able to change, spin on the dime, and just help people.
Yeah, I love that, Seb. That's so good. Um, just as we are finishing off, what's the next marketing or client acquisition activities that Seb's going to employ going between now and Christmas?
So for me, it's I've got a target. I've got a target, my own KPI, my own personal KPI, because we are individual agents. I don't work in an office. I don't have a boss telling me what to do. So I've got to stay focused on my own KPIs, which I do have, but I break my KPIs into small chunks to achieve medium chunks to achieve big chunks. So I've got my own personal KPI from here to December. Marketing is I need to brush up on my IT stuff, and there's a couple of things that I need to do from that. I've got a 3-month plan up until September, and then I've got my Christmas plan, both from a few DLs, touching base with old clients, and just doing the basics right. So I've just got to brush up a couple of IT stuff, and then just keep doing the basics. Do not reinvent the wheel.
Okay. And you had said before that perhaps, you take business everywhere. I want to come back now and just press you a little bit on the DLs. So do you drop in a particular area on a regular basis and then just take business as it comes from other sources, or how does that work?
So great question. I'm a very big fan of only dropping DLs once I list or sell a property,
Okay.
because when there's one sale in a street, there's always going to be another one. So I'm very focused. When I have success on an area, I'll bombard it. But I'm not an area specialist as such, even though I promote myself as the area specialist every time, because people like to see success. They like to see results, and they like to see what their neighbors are doing. So I do a just listed, just sold campaign on all my properties.
How
But
many DLs is that, Seb?
so I do about 1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 1,000, and I do direct marketing letters as well to past clients and of those areas, and investors as well, which a lot of agents, I would say 99% of agents, won't target the investors when they do the deals. They just do deals. I back it up with a direct marketing campaign to investors of properties in the areas as
Okay.
well, telling
Yeah.
them about the success. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really interesting. Um, and anything else that or any advice you'd give to somebody that's 12 to 24 months into the industry?
The only advice is keep it simple. Keep it simple. Look outside the box. Learn from your peers. Don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help, which was one of the biggest things I didn't do initially in my career. Ask for help. There's some great people in an EXP. They're always there to help you. You've just got to ask for help. And asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's actually a collaboration. It's a meeting of minds. You don't know when that person that you're helping today is going to be able to help you back. Just give a little bit, because it'll come back tenfold.
Yeah.
Stay in there and stay in there. Persevere.
I'm glad you said persevere, because I remember I went to a Lee Woodward training early in my career, and he laid it out really beautifully. He's like, so in your first 3 months, you're going to want to quit. After 6 months, you're going to want to quit. At 9 to 12 months, you're going to want to quit. 18 months, you're going to want to quit. 3 years into it, you're going to want to quit. Just keep showing up. And
Absolutely.
like, and it was so true. You miss out on a few appraisals. The competitor company, they start to dominate in your area, and you think, what's going on? I'm never gonna survive in this, but that's great.
The
Seb.
only the only thing the only thing I would add to that is when you're making the calls, when you're doing your activity, don't quit, because people's memories are not that great, and don't overthink things. Don't overthink. I've seen agents in office going, I'm not going to call this guy because last time I called him, he hung up on me. Don't overthink it, because they're not even going to remember that. Just do it. Just do it, like Richard Branson says. Just do it.
I worked for a guy once, and he was letter dropping a particular area. He did it every Wednesday afternoon, and he got this guy rang him up and was abusing him, and he said, "Stop putting that stuff in my letterbox." A few weeks go by, "Stop putting that stuff in my letterbox," but he wouldn't give him the address. And then all of a sudden, he got a call. And he goes, "Hey, I'm the guy that's been ringing you, telling you to stop putting stuff in my letterbox, but my situation has changed, and I
Absolutely.
actually need to sell. And you're the only one I can think of. I know you're consistent working in the area."
Spot
So
on.
so he went he went and listed it and sold the property for him. So Seb, thanks so much for taking time out of your schedule to meet with us today and to share your experience. I hope those that are here live and those that are watching the replay can get a lot out of it. That it's persistence, it's KPIs, it's setting your own KPIs, it's just doing the work, and it's about problem solving for people. It's not about trying to get sales. And Seb, really appreciate that, and thanks for joining us on this episode of AMP.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for the invite. Keep going. You'll get there.